Hey everybody, Justin Senior here. Welcome to class number 4 for our live Shopify success training. And this is going to be by far the best class and the most important class because we're actually going to finally be able to talk about scaling and actually implement some scaling onto our ads. And it's been a crazy couple of weeks in the store. Definitely hit some roadblocks, some randomness in terms of Shopify payments getting all messed up, but we're back and we're all good now. And we're actually hitting, we definitely hit a nice product. And I'll show you that I've scaled a little bit and we're going to really do all the scaling today. So that's what we're going to be covering. Scaling, making decisions on basically how to spend more money on our ads, and not only just in terms of our existing ads, but creating new ads. And of course, just like every week, although we're going to be scaling, there's still something that's even more important, and that's going to be product launches. So we're definitely going to want to make sure that we have 8 products to go in, and you're going to see, based on the sales that we got, definitely going to be sticking in this niche for sure. So we're moving pretty nicely. I think we're up to about 13 orders, maybe 15 or 16 pieces sold for the phone case, and apart from an upsell or two, that's literally been the only ad that we've run that has had any success. But we've only tried about 8 products, and it's a great sign that we've actually been able to sell. So give me a 1 in the chat box real quick. Just make sure you can hear me. I should have done that at the beginning, but I only see a handful of people in here, so I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Give me a 1 in the chat. All right, cool. Cool. So we're going to get started in here, and I really want to, again, talk about scaling. It's just incredibly valuable, incredibly important, and really what you're going to find is that we basically want to get to this point for all of our products. This is basically the kind of, I call this the reward part of the business. Once we get to a point where we definitely know that a product is going to sell, and like I said, we've sold 13 pieces of the product, we had 13 orders, at least 13 pieces, probably more, and it's been the phone case, guys. I'm not sure if you've seen this product on here. I'm bringing it on the screen right now. It's this product right here. Okay, so we got our little product here, and this is going really well in terms of our posts. I did a dark post on here, so you're not seeing that on the fan page, but I'll bring up the ad in a little bit. But this is the product that's working well for us. Another update, actually, this is a new section on the site. Hopefully you're seeing this. If not, make sure you clear your cache and cookies. It's a cool app that I'm using to do this. Again, there was, if you saw the thread in the group, there really was no good way to add related products in here. Shopify gave a little tutorial in terms of code, but my developer wasn't able to do it. What you're seeing here is called the Personalizer app. Personalizer app by LimeSpot basically just automatically inputs related products into your product page. Okay, it also does some cool stuff on the cart page in terms of checking out upselling. So I have a different upsell now. You're going to see right here. This is also added by the Personalizer app. So we still have our boost sales upsell that's going to take place once you add a product to cart, and now you're going to get also the ability for them to add more products directly to their cart inside of the cart page. So that's something new for us. Okay, but again, really, it's just this product that's selling. I had some high hopes for this product. We did not do anything really on this product either. So we had a couple upsells of print on demand, and really it's been predominantly this. So we're going to be scaling this product for sure, obviously, and it's definitely, in my opinion, looking like a winner, right? Looking like a winner. We're not seeing your screen. Interesting. That's I should definitely share the screen then. Sorry about that. Okay, so there we go. This is the product I was talking about. Okay, this is the product that's doing well for us. You guys can see it now. This is the app I was telling you about. I wasn't able to code in the related products, so I just basically got an app to do it. And this app, it's called what is it called? Let me go back to my back end here. It's called the Personalizer. It's by LimeSpot. I believe it's $10 a month. It's I got a 14-day free trial. And it adds this. It also adds products that you've recently viewed. And a really cool thing is it adds a new upsell section right over here. Would you like to add? And they basically pull out your most popular product to consider as an upsell. Okay. So, I mean, really great. Definitely great stuff here. And we're really back into kind of scaling. And I want to show you some other things here. Actually, let me talk about this for a second. So I got a little presentation as well that we're going to cover here. And this is going to be about progression. Okay, so let me talk about progression before we kind of move forward into anything else. In terms of progression, right, we're looking at the idea of going from a starting strategy, which we've already implemented, right? Because our starting strategy was, we test a couple products every week. We do our $5 a day, $5 ads, and we progress into more advanced strategies, not only scaling, but audiences that we're going to be using, right? And I'm going to go over that in the presentation for sure. Okay. Actually, I also want to do this. I wanted to start off with any open questions that you guys may have. If you have any open questions that you've been holding for this, it's been about 2 weeks since we got on, or a week and a half, about, I don't know, something like that, since we've got on the call. Definitely now's the time. We'll also do a Q&A at the end of the call here. And I see a question, what about boost sales? Still in there, right? Boost sales is definitely still in there. I have 2 separate upsells now, and they work 2 different ways. The boost sales app will upsell when you add a product to cart this way, right? So we still have that, right? We're going to hit them twice with an upsell. This is a more traditional upsell, and this is definitely a very soft upsell, right? I mean, they're going to see it, but this isn't like in their face. So we have 2 different levels of upsell in here, and definitely powerful. Make sure you guys don't hesitate to post any questions. We only have a handful of people in here on the live group, so a lot of people will be watching this as a replay. Obviously, use the group for any Q&A. Okay, so moving, looking into where's the presentation? And actually, let's do the ads first. Let me bring up the ad account. Okay. So I'm bringing up my ads account, and I'm going to show you. There's only one ad running right now. I could have definitely scaled a couple of, really I should have scaled yesterday, but I wanted to save it just so I could do it all on this call. Bulk of our sales have come in over the past 48 hours, 72 hours, because I've been scaling the budget on our working ad. So let me pull that up right now. And really everything else is turned off in terms of these ads. So let me just bring over our ad account. Here we go. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong one. Bring over the other one. There we go. I got too many ad accounts here. Okay. This looks like, yeah, okay, this is the right one. Okay, here we go. So here's our what do you call it? Our campaign here. And you see I've spent about $107 on here, so I want to kind of fill you in on kind of what's been going on. Now, you see we have a tremendous amount of action on this campaign. We have some really low add to carts. If you hover over your numbers here or your results here, you're going to see your more specific numbers. Okay, obviously, in this case, we are optimizing for add to cart because we're at a brand new pixel. Okay, and I'm actually going to talk about that in the what do you call it? Inside the in the presentation, in the presentation today, right? And is it a $14.99 price tag? Yes, definitely. It's an AliExpress product. I do a lot of my phone cases actually AliExpress as opposed to print on demand. It's just going to be cheaper. So you see over here, this is our little result so far. I didn't track every single one of our purchases. We have 13 orders and 15 pieces about. So, it's pretty normal. It's going to come close. We got 11 out of the 13 orders tracked. So, that's a good thing, right? It's close enough. And we're looking at really good metrics here. Basically, what happened is originally on our first ad set, I basically had it turned off for a little bit. And that was because we were battling some of that Shopify payment garbage. We were back up on there with full credit card and PayPal up there again, but originally we weren't there. So this is only one ad set, right? And this is really going to, literally today, this is going to get about 6 or 7 or maybe 8 times bigger because we're going to be implementing horizontal scaling. Okay, and I'll be talking about that in progression, but I want to catch you up with what I've done. We spent $107. We're at $35 a day in terms of spend. And that is me simply implementing budget scaling. Right, if you're inside my T-shirt bootcamp, you get access to my little scaling rules. Basically, it's just like a little chart that I use to scale my ads. And Obviously, this ad started at $5. It had a little bit of time off because we were focusing on fixing the payments, turned it back on, got a handful of sales. We're at about 5 sales through about, it was really actually about $35 because, again, I kind of messed up the timing with the issues being with Shopify payments. But assuming we were at our $25 mark, right, a little bit over, I was at 5 sales. And our margin on this is about $9, right? And I'll just say $10 to make it easy. I think the products cost us $5 and change to send out, and we're taking in $14.99. So we're going to be definitely going and scaling this product at our $25 mark with 5 sales. I mean, without a doubt, we're scaling. I mean, even if we had probably 3 sales, we would have scaled there, because just, again, using $10 as a margin number to make it easy, was we're about 9 and change. 10 times 3 would be $30, and we spent about $30. So at that point, we're just a little bit over profitability, and that's a good sign, especially considering we, kind of had more sales than that. We had 5 sales. So I think our overall number was close to 75% ROI in the original ad set. Just knocked over something here. So yeah, we were at 5 sales on our initial point, and that's when we decided we're going to start scaling, and I started scaling the budget. I don't scale too aggressively, right? You're going to see inside the scaling rules if you're in that camp, and I'll touch on those when we kind of go over the progression. We don't want to be jumping too fast, right? We don't want to be jumping too quickly. And, as soon as I saw that we were profitable after $25, I knew I was going to scale the ad, right? When did I decide that this was a winner? Pretty much in the past 48 hours, really, when I started upping the budget and seeing some consistent sales every single day. So, today, what are we at today? Let me take a quick look at where we're at today. We're at 92 visits, 75, so 74 and change in terms of our sales. So, that's a nice sign, obviously. We are certainly profitable just in terms of today. And, that's a really nice start for the day. In terms of traffic, right, just in terms of overall baselines, let's say you get 92 clicks, right? You should be making around $92. So you want to make around $1 per click or $1 per visitor, right? That's kind of your baseline that you would shoot for. Certainly not going to always get that, and that's okay. But, definitely are going to see it a good amount of times. It's going to be really close to that one-to-one setup, really. $1 per 1 visitor that you get. Okay. So, yeah. Anyway, and just bring that over here real quick, and you guys could see this. We got our $75. We got our 92 visitors, and we're still pretty early on in the day. Obviously, as you see, everything is for the phone case. So we're doing good, right? We got a product that is selling, right? We had 5 pieces sold just today on our $35 budget. We haven't even spent, obviously, half of that yet. So we're looking pretty good in terms of moving forward. And if this momentum continues, it's going to explode over the next couple of days, because like I said, we're going to literally take what we have right now. We have 1 ad set. We're going to multiply that by at least 6, right? At the end of this class, we're going to have 6, 7, maybe 8 ad sets that we're going to be able to run all to the same product. And that's really what scaling is all about, right? You have something that works, you show it to more similar people. Okay. So I see a couple questions. Should we take the T-shirt bootcamp course after this one? The T-shirt bootcamp is my full program, right? It's my coaching and my course. So, of course, I recommend it. You're going to see a lot of the concepts that and you've been seeing a lot of the concepts that I target inside the bootcamp that I've been implementing for this store. For example, the progressions. So with that being said, let's jump into the PowerPoint. Okay. So ad progression, right? There's going to be basically different types of progression. There's pixel progression, there's your testing progression, there's audience progression, and of course there's scaling progression. That's the most important, right? These are the different ways that you're going to progress from one part of your business to the next. And basically that quote unquote part is the testing phase to the actual operation phase, right? And I feel like we're at that right now. Last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, because we had that week off for the payment stuff, 2 weeks ago, we said if we don't make a sale, we're leaving the niche, right? So like your initial progression is testing. Really, you could call it proving, right? You want to prove the niche. I believe that we've done that because we're able to scale a budget. I've spent $100 on one product. I'm profitable on that product, right? Let's say we're making $10. We sold 15 pieces. 15 times 10 is 100. We spent 106, so we're at about 50% ROI, right? Because we're talking about our net profits, right? $10. Let's just do the exact numbers just so we have it. Take a little calculator out. 15 times 9, 45, which is our margin, 141. We spent 106. So 35 is more like 35. So let's see, our ROI. Okay, we're about 34% ROI. Okay, 34% ROI. Now, understanding your ROI is very important when it comes to scaling your budget, right? You're scaling your budget based on ROI numbers. The higher the ROI, the more aggressive you could push the budget. The lower the ROI, obviously, the less aggressive you'll push the budget. And you've seen that I'm up to $35. Progression-wise, I went from 5 to 15 to 25 to 35. Right, that was my progression in terms of scaling. You see the jumps are very small. Yes, 5 to 15, that is a 3-time jump, but that's only because we're at really small numbers, right? Now that I'm at $35, I mean, it would have to be an incredibly powerful day today for me to go to 70. Right? I mean, I'd probably want to go maybe 50, 55, 60, just have some small jumps to really protect your ad set, because the quickest way to kill a successful ad set is to increase the budget too quickly. For example, you got a great ad, right? Let's say we're at $35 and I say, you know what, tomorrow I feel like investing a lot. You know, I really want to push this winter. Take my $35 budget and make it $350. Guarantee you'll lose money, right? It's almost a 100% guarantee. Facebook will freak out when you increase your budget that quickly for everything except manual bidding. Okay, manual bidding obviously is another scaling strategy that we would implement further on in this progression. You'll actually see it in the progression. Okay. So these are very important concepts to understand in terms of where you're at in your overall business. If you're in the testing phase or the proving phase, right, it's all about figuring out, can you reach buyers, right? Can you find buyers? And our interest group strategy definitely works for that. In fact, the interest group strategy works at every part of the progression, right? That's why it's my interest group strategy. I mean, I use that targeting strategy start to finish in my business. So progression during proving testing, you're using interest groups. Progression during scaling, you're using interest groups. Right? Audiences, you'll see, will be able to progress using a little bit different stuff, but I'll show you that. Okay, so let's start with pixel. Okay, pixel progression. This is really going to answer the question, what do I use or what do I select when I'm optimizing for an event, right? We know that we're going to pick website conversion for our ad objective, right? There's no doubt that website conversion is the best ad objective. No doubt. But as we know, when we're going in to create an ad, right, there are different objectives, right? There are different. Let me get this out of the way. There are different objectives that we can pick. I'm just going to bring up a sample ad right now. And when we pick conversion, we need to pick our event. And this is the progression that you would go with. You're always going to start with add to cart. If you're a brand new store, right? If you're a brand new store, or more effectively, if you are running with a brand new pixel or a pixel that doesn't have too much information on it, you need to start with add to cart. Okay, and you see over here, I'm talking about this section right here, the actual event that you're going to optimize for. Add to cart. And of course, there are other events in here. We could take a look. And of course, the important one or the valuable one is purchase, right? It's being a little weird right now, but you see that it's in there. We're going on add to cart, right? And I'm kind of thinking that I'm not even in the right ad account right now, but either way, you see the point. I got to make sure that I'm in the right ad account, but this is the idea here, right? In this event right here, we are picking add to cart. Okay, and you see in the presentation, we want to move off of add to cart as quickly as possible, but we can't just go right to purchase, because the thing about purchase is actually, let me step back a little bit more about the pixel, right? The pixel is going to say, okay, Justin wants to optimize for the purchase event. Okay, great. I'm going to go into the pixel. I'm speaking as Facebook's algorithm right now. I'm going to go into Justin's pixel, and I'm going to pull out all of the people that have done purchases. Okay, and in a great pixel, there might be 10,000 purchases. Right? So you're in a store that's been live for months, and you've scaled tons of products. You could have a pixel, a super powered pixel. It has 25,000 purchases. Right? I'm just making up a number. Okay. On the other hand, your brand new pixel has 0 purchases. So Facebook needs to leverage the data inside the pixel to optimize the ad. right? That's what the Facebook pixel is all about. It nonstop captures information to be used in the optimization of your ad. Well, you should already know what I'm about to say next, right? A brand new pixel that has 0 purchases versus a seasoned pixel that has 25,000 purchases, what is going to be more of an asset for Facebook? Obviously the latter, right? Obviously the seasoned pixel. And why is that? It's because they're able to go in there and pull out the data about these people who have made these 25,000 purchases. And then then Facebook is saying, okay, based on the targeting, in our case, based on the interest group that we're using, let's go find people that are going to perform similarly to these 25,000 purchasers. Right? That is super powerful. That is very realistic for Facebook to do a good job on that ad with purchase. Okay? But if you have 0 information about purchasers, how is Facebook going to use the pixel to help? Right? That's the whole idea about pixel progression. This is why, and I actually see a question in the chat box from Ken, why is add to cart instead of purchase? Simply because we don't have enough purchase data. And there's no doubt that purchase is the toughest event to optimize for. So what we want to do is basically get the pixel working. So, I mean, in a perfect world, we'd go right to purchase. But it just makes for, you're going to see very high CPMs that way. It makes for a bit of a more challenging setup. Okay, when you get to 25 purchases, right, that's when I'll go ahead and start moving off to purchase. Okay, and I think other people will tell you, forget it, you need 250, right? And the number is debatable, right? For me, I want to go to purchase ASAP. 25 is going to be the number that I do, and it's just 25 tracked purchases. Because remember, the pixel tracks everything. It doesn't have to be just one product. It could be anything. The pixel is tracking every single purchase, every single add to cart, every single view content. It's tracking everything, right? So we really want to make sure that we're doing that. And what we really want to also understand is that by going after website conversion add to cart, right, we're basically filling in the pixel, right? We're basically, we're seeding it with content. We're trying to help make the pixel perform better. And the reason that we can do add to cart is because that's a more attainable event, right? You saw on let me bring the ad screen back for our current campaign that we're about to scale. Where is it? Over here. We got 161 add to carts, right? That's a lot. I mean, we only got 11 purchases, but we got 161 add to carts. So clearly, it's plausible for the for Facebook. And you know this is a new pixel, right? It's only week 2 of our pixel, really. You know that it's plausible for Facebook to find add to carts at a reasonable rate, but finding purchases is definitely more expensive. So we want to really just go ahead and start with add to cart, right? I don't want you to start with view content. I want you to start with add to cart. It's an attainable goal. It's still a powerful goal because it shows that there's buyer's intent, and it will set us off in that progression of being able to go to purchase. Okay, so your first progression that you want to care about is your pixel progression. And in short, it's add to cart to start, moving to purchase when you get 25 sales. Okay, one more thing about functionality. We're never touching an existing ad except for budget. So if this happens where you reach 25, I mean, we could hit 25 sales today, right, for our product. Am I going to go in there and edit my ads to change it to add to cart to purchase? Absolutely not, right? We're never touching anything that works. Now, what I would definitely do is my next launches, they're going to be purchase. Right? My next ads, they'll be purchased once I hit that 25, but I'm not going to go back and change anything. Okay? So testing progression. Here's another progression. I've kind of already covered this, I think, in the third class. Each product gets one test, right? I think a big misconception here is that, the more tests you give a product, the better it's going to perform, and that's not the case. Every product does not deserve multiple tests. Every product only deserves one test. Then data about our ads, as we talked about, I think in class 2 or 3, right? Understanding the correct data to read, the CPM, CTR, CPC, that dictates if a product gets another test. Okay, I really want you to save your money on the ad testing. That is the whole idea of the volume game, right? We launch a lot of products. Right, this week we're going to be launching 8 products. They'll all get $25 spent. So I'm investing $200, hopefully finding a winner, right? Will I spend $26 on an ad? No. I won't. I'll spend $25 on an ad. I'll save my dollars. I'll save my pennies. I won't even spend $25 and 1 penny if I time it correctly. Right? And of course, it's unrealistic for you to stop it exactly at $25. But my point is, we want to make sure that we're only testing up to $25. That's how our testing progression looks. And after the $25, we just simply look at those scenarios, right? We have the obvious ones, the obvious cuts or the obvious scales, and then those middling ones, right, where we actually look at the back-end stats. Right? We look at the back-end stats. There, you have good stats. Remember, 2 out of the 3 of those good stats that I covered in the last class about reading ad data. 2 out of the 3 are good. You're going to give it another test. If you only have one out of the 3 or none out of the 3 that are good, well, what do? You turn the ad off and you don't test the product anymore. Okay, that's your testing progression. It's very, very simple. Again, it's just going to be the different scenarios, and you'll start to understand these scenarios. You'll be able to read these scenarios and react to these scenarios immediately, right, without thinking. It'll be like, just like reading the back of your hand. It'll be very, very easy, kind of like second nature, right? I could look at campaigns and I could see. And really, I mean, it should only take you a couple of times to do this, right? You look at your front-end stats. Did I make profit? Yes or no, right? Yes, okay, great. Scale the ad. No? Okay, turn the ad off. Okay, if no, look at the back-end stats, right? Low CPM, low cost per click, high CTR, great. That's a middling scenario where we have good stats. We're going to give it another try with one more interest group. Okay, and again, I covered that last time. This is just a little review. So, audience progression. Okay, audience progression, this kind of goes hand in hand with your scaling progression. So, we're all in phase 1, right? Up until this point, we're in phase 1 of our audience progression, and that is, of course, interest groups, right? We've been using interest groups, and we've been mostly intersecting our interest groups if possible. That's phase 1. Those are going to be our audiences, our interest-based audiences, and those are certainly where we're going to be making the most of our money. Okay, phase 2, which is going to happen today, phase 2 is going to be all about custom audiences. Okay, you got your retargeting audience. You got your lookalike audience, right? We got all of the audiences that we'd want to build, right? There's also page-based audiences that we could eventually build. That's going to be phase 2, and that really comes into play when we go into horizontal scaling, which we're doing today. Okay, phase 3, international audiences. Well, you'll see that the phase after, or the progression after horizontal scaling, is scaling internationally, right? So we would then need to build international audiences, and these are very simple, right? These are taking your phase 1 audiences and changing the country, right? Instead of United States, we would do our international group 1, and our international group 1 is Mexico, Australia, UK, France, and also New Zealand. That's a very small one. Okay, those are your 5 countries that you would add. Did I say Canada? Let's go. Canada, UK, Australia, Mexico, New Zealand. Yep. So those are the 5. Okay, so we would go there on international, right? And again, that's super simple. You'll see that under scale by scaling internationally. That's going to be, I think, phase 3 scaling. So phase 4 is the same as phase 1, except I told you when we were doing our interest grouping, there's built-in scalability in these audiences, right? Built-in scalability in the audience. You have the ability to simply unintersect your intersected interest group. So let's say you have something like the Cat Magazine interest group, and it's 5 million in size, but you've intersected it down to 300,000. Well, if you're getting all the way to phase 4 of your progression, meaning you found success with interest groups, you found success with the audiences, you found success internationally, now we're going to simply unintersect our audience. So that Cat Magazine example, if we intersected down to 300,000, we'd simply remove the intersect and go back to that bigger number, that whatever it is, 5 million, right? That's how you progress through audiences, right? This gives you tons of upside, right? Again, I call this the reward part of the business, right? We have a product that we know is working. This is our reward. Our reward is now having so many different people and different ways to show a winning product, right? This is basically like having hindsight in the stock market. You know a product, or you know a stock is doing well. Well, of course, now you'd like to kind of push all your chips into it, right? You want to go all in. And I'll teach you about all in the phases that I show you for scaling, okay? So this is super important, Okay, this is the most important part of, I think, any part of the Facebook ad side of the business. There's two challenging parts of this business. Number one, finding customers. Number two, scaling. And I truly believe that we've, definitely hit a product that's desired, right? I mean, we're scaling it. Spend about $100 on vertical, right on the budget. And we found a product that, definitely needs to get scaled. And remember, what is scaling? Well, it's just simply showing something that works. So our phone case, showing something that works to more similar people. And this is what the scaling progression is all about. Different ways for us to reach more people, okay? We want to reach more similar people. We want to reach everyone in our niche. And again, that's why the interest grouping strategy is so powerful for this business. We already know exactly who and where these quote-unquote more similar people are, right? They're in our interest groups. They're also in our custom audiences. So that's going to be the horizontal scaling progression. So talk about vertical first, okay? I've already been implementing vertical scaling, and why is that? That is increasing the amount spent on your ads, right? You saw that, where's the screenshot? I'm up to, right here, $107 now. Okay, $107 now. We spent $1 in the past couple minutes. Okay, $107 on our total spent, right? Well, if we were doing $5 a day, it would take a while to get up to $100, right? If we were doing $5 a day and we're testing, that's great, right? We want to limit our testing. But we're not in the testing progression, right? We're in the scaling progression. We want to be spending more money. Okay, and this is all about increasing the amount that you spend. Okay, think of it as, again, investing. You have something that works. Why don't you invest more money into something that works as opposed to testing other things that may not work? And of course, we're going to be testing things that may not work. That's otherwise known as our weekly product launches. But there's no doubt that it makes sense to spend money on things that are working, right? Again, this is your reward. You're now in the reward phase of the business. You have a product that you found demand. Right now it's time to make money off it. We want to go and spend more money on what's working, so we're going to scale the budget. Again, I told you a little progression. I had 5, 15, 25, 35. Tomorrow, I would say the highest I would go comfortably is $60, right? You're never going to really be doubling your budget except really at the forefront when you're at that $5 mark. So again, if you're in the T-shirt bootcamp, you just have access to these scaling rules. But again, they're basically just rules that I've created that allow me to scale robotically. Very important when we're talking about vertical scaling, okay? Vertical scaling, you have more money on the line. And in fact, after this call ends, I'm going to have at least 2, 3, 4 times the amount of money on a daily basis being spent to this product than I did before. So my point of that is you have more money on the line, you have more risk. And with risk, of course, we're all humans, comes emotion, right? And the worst thing you could do is let emotion come into play when you're scaling your ads. When you're making decisions, you need to be a robot, right? That's why I create the scaling rules. I needed rules set up so that they're predetermined, right? Because the worst thing you could do is tomorrow, right? So you wake up and you see that today we had 20 sales and you say, oh my God, this is unbelievable, amazing. If I did 20 sales today, if I just 10x my budget, now I'll get 200 sales, right? That's not the case, right? And on the flip side, how about you're spending $200 on an ad and you lose $50 on the day? You don't have a good sales day and you freak out. You say, oh my God, I totally messed up here. Right now I need to shrink my budget. I need to go back to $5, right? Because you're scaling emotionally. Right? You can't scale emotionally. You need to scale robotically. So having a scaling rules, and you don't even need to use mine. You could create your own scaling rules. Basically, the idea is that you have the exact actions that you're going to take predetermined, right? So if you sell 5, you're going to do this. If you sell 10, you're going to do this, right? If you make 100% ROI, you're going to add X to your budget. If you make 50% ROI, you're going to add Y to your budget, et cetera, right? And this allows you to scale robotically. You just simply look up the results on the table, right? You create your own table and you say, okay, well, originally I set this rule and I said if I was going to make 100% ROI, then I'm going to add $25 to my budget. Okay. If I make 200% ROI, then I'm going to double my budget, right? Having these rules predetermined, I can't tell you how valuable. I mean, this completely changed my business, right? This completely changed the way that I look at the business, right? Because I'll tell you the truth, scaling is scary, right? It was definitely, and I think it still is, seen as one of the most challenging parts of the business. It definitely was for me. It was that this was what was holding me back from having those huge months. And it's because, again, it's impossible for emotion not to come into play, right? You're going to be excited. You're going to be upset. You're going to be anxious to spend more or anxious to spend less. Don't let those emotions come into play. Set your scaling rules beforehand, right, and scale off of that. Okay, other notes, 24-hour period. That means you're only scaling off the last 24 hours of results. I don't care what happened 3 days ago, right? Scaling is a 24-hour thing, right? You have to do scaling based on the last 24 hours. Don't let it be any longer of a time frame than that. Okay, another thing in terms of timing, you could scale on day 2 of the campaign. I think when we originally launched this campaign, we didn't make any sales until like day 4. Okay, so obviously I didn't scale, but you could scale on day 2. Let's say you made a handful of sales. You could scale, right? Again, this is why it's so important to have predetermined scaling rules, right? It's not like, it's not if I'm going to scale. It's not should I scale. It's, okay, I'm looking up these rules that I created and I'm just robotically following them, right? And of course, each ad set that you have, at this point, we're only going to have one ad set. Each ad set should get vertical scaling applied. This is going to be a lot more powerful when we start doing other scaling techniques, because everything will funnel into this vertical scaling idea. You're going to see how powerful it is when we go over the next one, horizontal. Okay. So vertical scaling gets applied to everything, right? The whole idea here is, again, we want to have ad sets that are working, and then we want to spend more on what's already working. Okay. So horizontal scaling, very important, very powerful, very misunderstood. Scaling 101, again, when something works, show it to more similar people. Okay. So the number of targeting options you have, which in our case means the number of interest groups you have, that directly corresponds to the number of horizontal scaling opportunities you would have available. Okay, number of horizontal scaling options you'd have available, and those include interest groups, website custom audiences like retargeting audiences, lookalike audiences, page-based audiences, right? Any way to show it to more similar people, right? You see it right here, scaling 101. We need to show it to more similar people, and this is, again, why the interest group strategy works so well. So what is horizontal scaling exactly? It's when you would create more ad sets showing the exact same product, using the exact same post. The only difference, the only variable that you're changing is the targeting. Okay? And in the simplest form of things, let's say you have 10 interest groups. Then you would have 10 different horizontal scales, one for each interest group. And we're going to implement that in a couple minutes on our current product. Now, there are different phases of horizontal scaling. Not every product deserves to be 100% horizontally scaled. We have to review the data. We have to look at our profitability and our key metrics, and obviously, most importantly, our return on investment. Right? Because some products might be profitable $5. Some products might be profitable $500. Right? They're not equal. So there are different phases of scaling. Okay, phase 0 is vertical scaling because you're always doing vertical scaling. The second that you have a product that is working, you're going to be doing vertical scaling. Okay, remember that you're going to be applying vertical scaling to every single one of your interest groups. Okay, to every single one of your ad sets. They're all going to get vertical scaled. Ideally, we'd have 1 million ad sets spending $200 each. Right? That would be in an ideal world. Okay. Now, phase 1 is your horizontal scaling. And there are 3 different intensities of your phase 1 scaling. Okay? Horizontal scaling, you're either going to go all in, you're going to go 50%, or you're going to do quote unquote unsure. Okay? Now, let me review a couple of these. So, phase 1 example setup, right? Let's say your niche has 10 interest groups, And let's say you've also built 2 retargeting audiences and 2 lookalike audiences. Okay. This means you have 14 total audiences. Okay. You're now going to go ahead and we've already tested our products. We've already spent $25 on our campaign, right? We're now going to talk about phase 1 all in, right? So when does this come into play? This, in fact, is going to come into play today, this specific scenario, right? All in, it means exactly how it sounds. We're going to go all in. We're going to push all our chips into the middle. We're going to literally go with every single targeting selection that we have, okay? Every single targeting selection that we have. Now, why do we do that? Well, when we have a super hot winner, we really feel like there's no risk. Okay, we want to be looking for things that we're at about 75% ROI. Okay, I know we're a little bit under that, but again, that was really truly based on the weirdness of having a couple of the days running without full payments. So I'm really judging this to be a very hot campaign. Okay, if you're at 75% ROI or higher, it's a no-brainer. You're going to be doing all-in phase 1 scaling. Okay, there's no harm in this, right? In my opinion, there's no harm in showing it to everyone as soon as possible because you've already proven that the product is hot, right? Again, this is the idea of investing more into what's working. So using the example that I laid out here with 14 total audiences, okay? Obviously, one of them is already in use for the original ad set that we did to test this campaign. So in this example with 14 total audiences, we would immediately create 13 more ad sets, and we would use the 13 unused interest group / targeting options that we have available, right? So each of these ads, each of these new horizontally scaled ad sets, they'd start at $5. They'd run for $25, right? Every ad set is individual, okay? So if you had success with one ad set, does not mean you're going to have success with the next, right? Now, obviously, you're going to have a really good chance of success because the interest group strategy is all about people who are similar, right? So you're going to have similar people looking at it, but you need to really keep in mind that every ad set is different, right? Success from one ad set guarantees you nothing in another ad set. Okay, always keep that in mind. But as soon as you're done with all-in scaling, you'd immediately go from one ad set to 14, right? You would literally 14x your spend immediately, right? You would literally spend a lot more to this product because instead of having one ad set, you'd have 14. Okay, you can see how valuable, how powerful that is. And by the way, vertical scaling gets applied to each of these ad sets as well. Right? Again, I told you everything funnels back into vertical scaling. So in this all-in scenario, we'd have 14 ad sets that we would then to look on a 24-hour basis. We look to scale those individually by budget. Okay, so you could tell, obviously, going to be incredibly valuable if you find a really hot product that you could then scale horizontally and vertically. So let's talk about a 50% scenario. Okay, product is profitable. You're getting between 35 and 75% ROI. It's not insanely hot, but you're selling it consistently, right? And I think that the ROI number really makes a lot of the decision making for you. Okay, in this case, we would feel like there's a slight risk in showing it to 100% of the audience, right? We're not exactly sure that it's an unbelievable all-in winner. I mean, we're definitely very confident. We're definitely very happy. What we're going to do is go in 50% of the way. Okay, so again, in our scenario, right, we have 14 total audiences. One of them is already obviously being used, so we really have 13 total audiences to scale to. We're going to create 6 ad sets, and we would pick 6 different interest groups to apply to those horizontally scaled ad sets. So it's not as powerful as all-in. Right, all in, we would have gone in with all 14 of our interest groups. On the 50% scale, we're only going with half of them. Okay, so you'd immediately go from 1 ad set to 7. Okay, because we'd be adding those 6 additional ad sets. Okay, now there's a part 2 of this. Each of the phase 2 50% ad sets get to $25, $5 a day, $5, right? You're going to vertically scale any of them that are working, okay? Now, here's the rule. If you pick up 2 more winning ad sets, basically that means at the $25 mark, if 2 of these horizontally scaled new ad sets, right? Out of the 6 you created, if 2 of them are winning, aka profitable, then we'll scale the other 50%. Basically, then we'll go all in, right? We'll exhaust our options for targeting. Okay. So in part 1 of this scenario, we added 6 ad sets. So we were using 7 out of our 14. Once we find 2 more winning ad sets, we now want to go all in. We want to add the 7 unused targeting options, bringing us to, we now have 14 out of the 14 targeting options used for this hot product. Okay. One more scenario. Phase 1 scenario, unsure. Okay. And in fact, you already know about this because this is kind of that one more test scenario that I was giving a couple of weeks ago about that middling scenario, right? Product is slightly profitable, close to break even, or it has good stats. And this is kind of quote unquote unknown, but worth the gamble, right? We just don't know. We think the product might be worth it. We're just not sure if we matched it up correctly, right? This is where we would look at those back end stats, right? Front end stats were not profitable. Back end stats, CPM, CTR, CPC, right? If we hit 2 out of those 3, this is where we would jump into the unsure scenario, right? And what are we going to do? Well, we're going to turn off the original ad and we're going to create one more ad set using only one of our other interest groups, okay? The key here is that we'd want to use our quote-unquote best interest group, right? At the beginning, you may not know what your best interest group is, but certainly you'd want to use the one that would give you the lowest CPM, okay? So in this case, you would either have 2 ad sets running or 1, right? You might have 2 if you decide to continue that original ad set, right? For example, let's say you're just at break even for that first ad set. You don't necessarily need to turn it off, but you definitely want to go into this unsure scenario and add in 1 more. And remember, no product will ever get a third try, right? So you give it a second try on the unsure, but you're either going to then jump into full horizontal scaling or you're done, right? You're never going to give a product a third chance. Okay, so those are 3 scenarios. And of course, there's part 2 to this scenario, and you can guess what it is, right? If you pick up a winner, if you prove that this unsure test turns out to be profitable, then you just go right back up the progression. Then you go to your 50% your 50% horizontal scale, right? And then if that 50% horizontal scale works, we already know what to do after that. We would then turn it into our all-in scale, right? So that's the horizontal scale. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about a couple other scaling strategies that would be basically progressed next week if our horizontal scale goes well. Okay, and a couple of those are going to be right here. Phase 2. Phase 2, scaling by objective. Okay, we're only going to move to this phase if we're still profitable through horizontal scaling. Okay, so this is obviously something that would happen after horizontal scaling, right? It certainly happens after vertical scaling. And what we're doing here is we're simply going to look for our best ad sets. And then we're going to create the exact same ad. We're going to create the exact same targeting, but the difference is we're going to use a different objective. Okay, we're not going to use website conversion. Instead, we'll try PPE, clicks to website, and video objectives, right? And why do we want to do this? Well, again, Scaling 101 says show something that works to more similar people. Okay, and let's say you have an audience of 1 million people. Website conversion, you'll never be able to show 100% of your audience just on one objective. It's because Facebook deems some people to be worthy of seeing website conversion ads. Facebook sees other people as worthy of seeing PPE ads because they're more likely to engage. Facebook sees some people as more likely to see clicks to website ads. So the bottom line is you're never going to show it to 100% of your audience. By doing scaling by objective, you keep the exact same audience, the same targeting, the same interest groups, the same ad. The difference is you use a different objective. Okay, so this would be something that we might try next week, right? We would take our best horizontally scaled ad sets and scale them by objective. Okay, phase 3. This would be 2 weeks from now. We would move on to this phase if we're still profitable through objective scaling. Okay, and you're going to take your best performing ads, and at this point, that could be any objective, right? You might have clicks to website working. You might have PPE working. You might have website conversion working. You might have video views working. You might have all 4 of them working. All you're going to do is take your best performing ads, you're going to duplicate them, and you're going to make one change. You're simply going to take out United States, and you're going to add in Canada, Mexico, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Okay, those are going to be the 4 countries that you would want to, the 5 countries you'd want to scale to. Okay. Now, keep in mind, sometimes you will have to make changes to the targeting. For example, you might have to remove some intersects because the overall population of these countries are going to be smaller than the United States in terms of Facebook targeting. Okay, so we're progressing down here. You would get here if you had success through objective scaling. Okay, and one more, phase 4, scaling manually. Right, we're going to move to this phase if we're still profitable through international scaling. Right, so again, this would be looking like about 2 or 3 weeks out. Right, in this case, you take your best performing website conversion ads and you duplicate them, keeping everything exact. Right, you don't change anything. The only thing you're changing is you're going to change your bid type from auto to manual. Right, and this would be something that would, we need an hour and a half to talk about manual bidding. Again, something that I cover inside the T-shirt bootcamp. This might be something that we would have one of our final classes on if we get a really deep scale, right? This would be something that obviously we'd be really, really deep into a scale. We'd be making a lot of money before we even get here because this is our phase 4. We'd have phase 0, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, right? And these are all progressions into that. Okay, so I'm going to bring over my ads account again, and we're going to go and actually do our scaling right now. But let me pause for some questions. You guys have any questions about what I have gone over in that presentation? It's incredibly important, really. I mean, it's some of the most important stuff that you're going to cover out there. I see. Can you explain how to create the retargeting? Definitely. I'm going to build that audience in a minute. What target for that ad set? I don't remember. Let's see. Where's the ad over here? Okay. Let's see the targeting. Okay, it's this. It's just a demographic. It was our demographic interest group of basically our life events, right? So we're actually using a pretty big audience here. So this is our audience now. And let me bring up my list of audiences, because remember we had a bunch of audiences saved. So let me move this over. I'll go back to my my audiences page, and we're going to use that obviously to scale into our horizontal scaling. So where is it at? Just bear with me. I'm just on my other monitor looking for my audience list. Okay, so we have wedding magazines, we have wedding websites, we have wedding celebrities, and we have wedding stores. We also have wedding broad, and we have wedding demographics. So we have 6 total audiences that we're able to build horizontally. So we would be, and obviously we're using one of them, right? So we're immediately able to duplicate this ad 5 times, right? Because we have 6 interest groups. One of them is being used. We want to go horizontal all in. So what are we going to do? We're simply going to scale 5 extra times. And we could literally just do this. Check this checkbox, duplicate ad set. Okay, it's going to take everything the same campaign, obviously the same post, right? We have our little post here. If you're engaged or married, game over. Here's the link, etc. Right? We don't need to change the post. The only thing we're changing is our targeting. Okay, so we're going to come over here and click edit. Okay, now because I'm duplicating this off of my original one, I want to be sure that I'm taking this budget to $5. Okay, we're starting all of our ads to $5. Okay, add to cart. We're keeping add to cart, of course. The only thing that we're changing is our targeting. Okay, now remember this is specific to phone cases, so of course we are keeping our mobile device user base. But what I'm going to do over here next, take this out, and I'm going to enter in my other interest group. And we could do, let's just do wedding magazines first, I guess. Okay. So we got our wedding magazines in here. And we're at 440,000 in size. No need to intersect. We're already inside of our sweet spot, 75,000 to 500,000. And this is our magazine interest group. I'll come up over here. I like naming him what the interest group is now that I'm in the horizontal scale. I can move pretty quickly when I'm doing my reporting and just kind of understand. So literally, I'm going to do this 5 times, right? I'm going to do this 5 times over here. So then, of course, I'll place this order. We just have to do this a couple different times. So we have our magazine interest group now added into this scale. And again, we're going to have a lot of ad sets here, right? We're not going to be starting at $35 for these new ad sets because every ad set is individual, right? Every ad set is individual. So now I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to duplicate off of this one now. Edit over here. Okay, how about this time we build, I don't know, let's build the websites. Let's do the websites one. We're going to do all of them, so it really doesn't matter what order we're doing. So we'll do websites. And I got my list of websites. So, of course, I'm going to remove the magazines, and I'm going to add in my list of websites here. Okay. This looks good. 1.4 million in size. We need to intersect. Okay, we know how to do that. We're looking for the biggest interest in size. Looks like it is the not. So I'm copying that, removing it, narrow further, and I'm placing it in there. Where is it? Whoops. Not. 1.3 million. Okay, that shrinks down way too small. That doesn't seem right. Let's remove this. So that's obviously just something weird with Facebook. Let's try Style Me Pretty instead. Fewer than 1,000. Why are we still like that? That's weird. Let's see. All right. So that brings us a little too small at 66,000. So I'm going to bring this back up here. I'm going to try one more intersect wedding wire because it's still pretty big. Move this down into the next one. And that shrinks us to 140. There we go. So that's our sweet spot, 75,000 to 500,000. We got 3 levels of intersect. Obviously our base, just mobile phone user. Then our wedding websites and intersected with wedding wire. So we're looking over here. Did I save? Yeah, websites interest group. So I'm going to save that. Okay, we're going to do it again. Let's do the celebrities next. The wedding celebrity interest group. So let me place this order. Okay, this is going to be our interest group of celebrity wedding planners. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate the ad set again. Edit. Okay. Celebrities interest group. Come down here, keeping our $5 budget. Removing this. And I'm copy and pasting my list of, what do you call it? Wedding planners. Didn't make it over there. Okay, so these are our wedding planners. Again, no intersect needed. We're right there at 170,000. And we're going to save this ad set. We're going to place this order. We're now at 4 different interest groups. We still have a couple more to add. Okay, we got our wedding stores interest group now. So again, I'm just going to duplicate this again. Oh, whoops. I placed that order too quickly. I got to edit that real quick. So it was this one. So stores. And I got my list of stores here. I'm going to paste that into my little box here. And we got that in there. Got them all in here. I don't see Men's Warehouse. Okay, size-wise, we're looking at 800,000, so a little bit big. And I want to make sure I got them all. Okay. So we need to intersect. We're looking for the biggest size. Got 513 at Men's Warehouse. Looking like that's the, oh, here we go, David's Bridal. So David's Bridal at 1.3 million. We're going to remove that from the first box, come down here. Intersecting leaves us with 34,000, so a little bit too small. Not going to be able to intersect this one. That's okay. Just bring David's Bridal. We're going to run with 800,000. Okay, and we are now going to make sure it's named. Okay. All right, we got one more to do, one more interest group one to do, and that is going to be another duplicate. This is going to be just the broad interest group. So we're going to come over here and just go in and type in broad. All right. And of course, this is just going to be our main broad keywords. $9.7 million. Totally normal, right? We're doing something very broad, right? We're going to see huge numbers. That's the whole idea of broad. And we're going to save this. So again, we had one ad set just 10 minutes ago. Now we have 6, right? Now we have 6 ad sets over here. Okay, we have 6 different ad sets. And this is looking like a really nice scale. Okay, now there are a couple of other audiences that we'd want to build. Okay, so let me go over here. Just open this in a new tab. So our audiences. And what we're going to do is build a couple of different website custom audiences to be used for our scale. Okay, I want to use them for our scale here. And am I in the right account? Yeah. So I'm under here under my audiences page, and I'm going to go in under this blue button, create audience. Okay, custom audience, lookalike audience. We'll build lookalike audience next, but we'll do custom audience first. Okay, custom audience, website traffic. What we're going to be building is a retargeting audience of people who have visited our product page. Okay, only people who have visited our product page is going to be in this audience. So what do we need in order to build that? And it's kind of going slow right now. Let's see. Let me just see if I can get this going. All right, I'm going to bring up I'm not sure why this is not working. I'll show you another example of what I'm trying to do here. And that would be, let me see if I have any other audiences. I'm going to have to show you a different ad account. But what we need to do here is basically we're going to duplicate again 2 more times. One time we're going to use our retargeting audience. Okay, it's going to be basically people who have visited our specific product page, not people who have visited the entire website. Okay, we just want it to be people who have visited our specific product. So only this page, right? Only people who have visited this page. Right? We build a custom audience using this. Right? Then once we build a custom audience, see, this still isn't working. Once we build a custom audience off of people who have visited that page, we would then build a lookalike audience, right? And that would be people who are similar, right? People who are similar to those that have viewed the page, right? So those would be our 2 additional audiences. So we would go from 1 audience literally to 8 audiences just in a matter of a couple minutes. Okay, this is finally working. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. Okay, create a custom audience. I just clicked create audience, custom audience, website traffic. And now we need to go over here. Include people who meet any of the following criteria. People who visited specific web pages. Okay. We're always going to set this to be 180 days. And over here, we're simply pasting in the end of the URL for this product. So everything after the /products, I'm copying. And I'm simply pasting it in here. Okay. This audience is going to be made up of people who have visited that page. Okay. Now we need to click exclude. Why is that? Well, we want to exclude anyone who has purchased, right? We want to exclude anyone who has purchased. So we come right over here. Exclude purchased 180 days. Okay. So if they looked at this page and they purchased, they're not going to be in this audience because we don't want to retarget to someone who's already bought. Okay. So this is how you create a retargeting audience, right? And retargeting is simply another form of horizontal scaling. Okay, create audience. Now, immediately it's going to ask us Do we want to find new similar people? And of course we do, right? We're scaling. So this is your lookalike audience right here. So you first build your retargeting audience off of people who visit the page. Then you click this button, find new people similar to yours. It's going to use that source audience, keep it 1%, simply enter in United States, and create the audience. Okay. Now we have these two audiences that we would do the exact same thing, coming right over here. Let's take this one. And we'll duplicate this 2 more times. And we're simply going to select the custom audiences that we had previously just built, right? We'll go in and select phone case RT, and I'll show you where you're going to do that. So this will be our retargeting. Everything will be blank. Even this, right? We don't need to have this on here for a retargeting audience because everyone who is in this audience, and we'll just come right over here, phone case, right? Don't worry about the size. We'll update in a little bit. It takes about 45 minutes to update. Come over here, phone case RT. That's all you need to do to put in the custom audience for your retargeting ad. Okay, everything else is left the same. Of course, we're doing our $5 a day budget, and we're saving this. Okay, and we have one more that we want to do. We're just going to go and duplicate one more time. Come over here, edit. And I'm looking for the phone case custom audience again, but this time I'm looking for the lookalike. Okay, and in this case, we do want to keep this, right? Because lookalike audience is not going to be people who have engaged with us. It's going to be similar to people who have engaged with us. So we definitely want to keep this because this is our base audience only for the phone case, right? If we weren't having a phone case product, we could delete this. Okay, but we're coming over here. Phone case lookalike audience. Again, don't worry about the size. It will update in about 45 minutes. Save and continue. And we're going to place order, and that is our horizontal scale, right? And this is the power of finding a winning product, guys. We could go and literally miss on everything, right? We missed on all of our products, but we found except one, right? I'm just naming that lookalike audience. We missed on all our products except one, right? And we could still make a ton of money right now because we have 8 ad sets running to a product that we already know is in high demand, right? And ideally, we'd see this number be something like $200 in a couple of days, right? And imagine if we had 8 ad sets running at $200, and then we start doing international scaling and objective scaling and manual bidding. One product can carry you. I call it the 95-5 rule. You've heard of the 80-20 rule, right? 95-5 rule, you're going to make 95% of your money through 5% of your products, meaning the winners are going to carry you not only for weeks, for months, right? So this is what you'd love to see, right? In a bigger niche, let's say in the cat niche, I have 11 interest groups and I have 5 different audiences, right? So that ad set, that scale would look even bigger. In fact, it would look double the size of this because I'd have 16 horizontal ad sets, okay? The idea is that you're maxing out because you know that a product is working. You're then maxing out, and we should see this number, this number right here, be significantly higher just tomorrow, right? Because today we were going to spend 35. Now we're spending 40, 45, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, $70. So we doubled the amount that we spent, right? So this is the scale. I see some questions about the scaling rules. The jumps are small, right? So I went 5 to 15 to 25 to 35 over 4 days, right? I did not go from 5 to 35. That would definitely hurt your campaign. Okay. So this is really, these are our only campaigns running right now. And of course, what we need to do this week is for sure launch a new product. And then you can kind of see how this business works on a week-to-week basis. You're scaling your winners and you're looking for more. Right? You're looking for more winners. The name of the game is volume. We launch a lot of products. We cut them very quickly at $25, and we take advantage of the ones that have promised to be scalable winners. And that's what you're looking at right now. Right? This is an awesome setup right now. We have a product that is in demand, and we have 8 different ways to target people in the niche. Okay. So that's where we're looking at, guys. Again, play the volume game, find the winners, and then scale out. So really off camera over the next, I guess, probably the next few hours, probably have to delay into tomorrow a little bit. I'm going to be launching more product. I have a bunch of T-shirts. You guys have seen them over the past couple of weeks. I really want to be, I didn't have any success with that personalized product. I'm pretty much going 100% print on demand this week. Right? I don't really have many good products that I have on the list from AliExpress. This niche is definitely going to be print on demand powered. Although, of course, this isn't a print-on-demand product. It is a print-on-demand product, but I'm sourcing it through AliExpress. But bottom line is, I think that we're really going to have to be along the lines of these print-on-demand type items: phone case, shirts, canvas, apparel, bags, etc. So I'll be doing that. Got a lot of intersects to come on that, as well as you saw some of the shirts that we had last week, and definitely going to have my designers start working on some new shirts as well, because I definitely cleared out Ecom Library of all of the wedding-related designs. So that being said, do a call for Q&A here. Take a couple of minutes to do some question and answer. And otherwise, we're going to definitely keep an eye out on these on this scale right now. If all goes well, we are certainly going to move out into scaling by objective next week. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll definitely give you guys updates in the group. But for those of you guys watching on replay, don't hesitate to use the group for questions. See a couple questions here that I'll hit, and then I'll jump off and start processing this recording. So let me bring up this slide because I see this question specific to this slide. Okay. So on the 50%, right? Which 7 are you going to pick, or which 50% are you going to pick? You're going to pick your best interest groups, okay? This is why it's so important to be categorizing your interest groups every week, right? What is your best interest groups? It's the one that has generated the most sales and or generated the best stats. For example, CPC being low, CTR being high, and most importantly, low CPM, right? Low CPM is really a good sign of your quote-unquote best interest groups, okay? Could we wait until phase 4 for manual bidding? Yes, definitely. You need to wait, right? You don't do all the phases at once. They go in order. So phase 0, vertical scaling, I was already doing that. Phase 1, horizontal scaling, we did that today. Phase 2, you move on. If phase 1 is still successful, that would be scaling by objective. So you don't do manual bidding until you get past all that. Okay. Products that don't make you money, do you delete them from your website? No, no reason to. What are your basic scaling rules for vertical scaling? Basically, what I'm doing is looking at ROI, and I'm making a distinction basically between, obviously, no budget change and doubling the budget. Right? Doubling the budget would have to be off some ridiculously high, maybe 500% ROI, and basically you look at ROIs everywhere in between there. Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm between 35 and 75% ROI. I'm going to probably add maybe $5, $10 on the budget. Right. If I'm at 100% ROI, maybe I'll add $15, $20 on the budget. And it definitely depends on where you're at. Right. Adding $20 to a $5 budget is a lot different than adding $20 to a $200 budget. But it's all about ROI. Right. It's all about your percentage ROI. That's going to correspond to the jump that you would make. And the max jump that you could ever make is doubling. So you're somewhere in between there. And also that doesn't count for your $5, $10, $15 budgets. You could certainly go and double or triple those. Right. You can go from $5 to $25. If you have some amazing day one, okay? How do you afford all the ads going? Hopefully you'll get a product that is working, but if you're just testing and spending, how do you handle that kind of cost? Well, that's your only business cost, right? You don't have inventory costs because you don't have to buy the products up front. You might have to do design costs, but really your ad testing is your only cost of running this business. So it's something that will be required week to week. You'll have to be testing product. I mean, that's the only way that you could find a winner. So, definitely want to, manage that cash flow. You could do a credit card, put it all on a credit card and pay it at the end of the month or something like that. But there's really no way to avoid spending money, right? If I have 8 products to test and I'm doing only drop shipping, I'm minimum spending $200. Okay. Can you get wall art from AliExpress? Absolutely. Really good margins over there. All right, guys, we'll take this last question, and then I'm going to jump off. How many products should you launch at first? I really want to launch 3 or 4 products, right? 3 or 4 products. I'm definitely going to be picking T-shirts for any. If I'm doing print on demand, T-shirts will definitely be my first print on demand products. And if I'm doing drop shipping, I'd want to find a couple of free plus shipping products, even though we didn't have much success with that. But free plus shipping, I typically would want to start a niche with that. Okay, guys? So I'm stopping this recording now. I'm going to process this as quickly as possible. I'll make sure that I post up the recording inside of the group. Again, if you're watching this on recording or on replay, don't hesitate to post questions inside of the, inside of the members only group. We would plan to have a class next Tuesday, maybe. That will give us 5 days for our horizontal scale. That will also give us 5 days for some product launches. So I'll post in the group for sure, but tentatively plan for Tuesday. And really, I mean, our max day, we're at, hopefully we hit $100 day today. I'm assuming we're already at $75. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning right now. So we should definitely hit $100 day today. And we'll see if we can get some consistency here. We really might have found our big winner. So that being said, I'll definitely see you in class, what is that going to be, class 5, I guess, next week. And I'll post the official date inside of the group. Marilee, Marcus, thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm going to post that replay as quickly as possible. And I'll definitely talk to you guys soon. Let's keep our fingers crossed for this horizontal scale. And let's make some money on this. I have a pretty good feeling for it. So, guys, replay coming soon. And I'll talk to you real soon.